In Element City, where air, earth, fire, and water all live, resides a fiery woman, Ember Lumen. When running her father's store, Wade Ripple, a water guy, literally bursts into Ember's life. After this event, Ember's father's store is at risk of being shut down. But to make it up to her, Wade decides to help. This team-up leads the two of them to find out more about each other than expected, potentially pushing this partnership to becoming something more. This is Pixar's Elemental. Elemental is the latest film from Pixar Animation, and it's the first Pixar original to not be put to Disney Plus since March of 2020. I will always have to remind Disney about that mistake because man, is it hurting them now. What didn't help is that for some reason the internet kind of collectively agreed that this film, and really this film in particular, was to be a punching bag of sorts. And I never really understood that. I thought the film looked unique and beautiful and charming, everything I expect from Pixar. But really, consistency is not what I expect from animation Twitter. I remember last year how everyone was going on about how DreamWorks completely destroyed Disney and blah blah blah. I guarantee you that there is going to be a percentage of people, big or small, that said all that are not going to go see the DreamWorks movies releasing this year. I don't think it's fair to sing the praises of a studio, not just a movie, a studio, when you're not willing to see all of their projects. Because I've seen all the Pixar movies, and I gotta say this one, pretty dang good. Elemental is a super fun, charming, sentimental film from Pixar. The film may share some similar beats to some other pieces of media, but at its core, it's its own unique thing. Leading this film is Leia Lewis and Mama Duathy, who play Ember and Wade, respectively. And this is, without a doubt, the best Pixar power couple since Wall-E and Eve. The performances given to these characters is so well in tune with the character and their respective element. And the characters themselves are also really strong Pixar characters. They both may have their own quirks that may seem derivative of another Pixar movie, but the characters' personalities, ambitions, and relationships are really strong and make for a really good character. And also, I want to point this out. Wade is such a great example of positive masculinity. I can't remember the last time I've seen something like that in a movie. And that was really well done. And on the flip side of that, Ember is kind of hot, both figuratively and literally. I know, I have no shame. Every time I see a Pixar film and I see their animation, I feel as if they've hit the top. But every movie after it only looks better. And this film is almost like a whole new level for Pixar. Not only is the world of Element City absolutely beautiful, the character animations are astounding. Now, you have to remember that the characters in this film are not firebenders or waterbenders. They are characters made entirely out of fire, water, air, and earth.
Magnets, how do they work?
The animation brought to the fire, water, and air people is so unique, and the way they move is so fluid in a way. Pun intended, I guess. However, I will admit, the earth people do get the short end of the stick. I think they knew that because they have like the least importance to the film. However, they do have the Riz god himself, Claude, for representation. He isn't in the movie much, but he's just like me, for real. Now, there is a lot more to this film's story than I feel like the trailers and the internet as a whole would lead you to believe. The amount of times I've heard people say this is a Zootopia ripoff is insane, because that's really not the case at all. Zootopia was about discrimination, where Elemental is about immigration. Yes, there are some scenes in the movie that delve into the topic of discrimination, but the film as a whole is about immigration and finding your place in the world. Something that may or may not lead to you breaking tradition. Perhaps that's more turning red, but that's neither here nor there. But the one thing Zootopia can't say it is a rom-com. They only joked about the idea of there being any kind of romantic interest between the leads of Zootopia at the end of the movie. Don't come at me saying it's a romance movie too. Because this film is definitely Pixar's attempt at a rom-com, and they do it pretty well. As I mentioned, Ember and Wade make for a really good couple in the movie. They even go as far as to give these characters what's the word? A meet cute? To be honest, I don't really know rom-com terminology. That may not come as a surprise to anyone, since I am the same person that just a few minutes ago proudly admitted fire was hot. But this film more than continues to prove that animation is not necessarily a genre, because it can be any genre. But what I think makes this movie the most to me, and I think I can say the same thing for so many Pixar movies over the last couple years, original ones especially, is that it's sentimental. Everything about it feels like the writers and directors' hearts were put into it because it's something that means so much to them. Whether it's a film based on personal experiences or it's a film dedicated and about people who mean the world to you, which is what this film's about. A little bit of research will find that this film is a very personal story from director Peter Shawn, better known as Socks, aka the best part of Lightyear. You can tell just how important this movie is to him, because everything the characters do and go through feels real, all the while being a fun animated adventure. It's kind of why I've always preferred Pixar movies over Disney animation movies. Yes, there is a difference. They just always have a sentimental feel to them, and I guess that's why Pixar is always known as the studio that will make you cry. And this film continues the trend of having a super emotional finale, so get those tissues ready. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Pixar movies always hit that sweet spot of being really fun and ambitious, all the while being really sentimental. That's the word of the day, I guess. Cannot recommend you go see this movie enough. In fact, I urge you almost. If you're planning on going to see The Flash, don't. Go see this movie instead, please. Pixar is kind of in a weird spot right now, again, due to the Disney Plus stuff. No one wants to go see Pixar originals anymore, but please, I urge you, go see this movie, support original animation in theaters, and don't see The Flash, period. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next review drops. Oh, and by the way, check out the website. Until next time, I'm Quint Dunaway, hoping you will keep it cinematic.